How to install the tri-sector pole mount antenna bracket for MX04 FFP X65-01 antennas. Installing brackets to the pole. Step 1. Using information on pages 6 and 7 in the installation guide, select the correct hardware for the pole diameter. For this 3.5-inch diameter pole, we'll use item 8, the 1.4-inch bolts, and no spacer item. Step 2. To install 3 top brackets around the pole with selected hardware, first attach the top 2 brackets together. On the pole, attach the third top bracket to the other 2 with flanges on top. Step 3. Ensure that the assembly is level and torque each hex nut to 13 foot-pounds. Step 4. Using the C distance found on page 11 of the installation guide, which in this case is 87.25 inches for an 8-foot antenna, measure from the top edge of the top bracket. Mark placement for the top edge of the bottom brackets along the circumference of the pole. Step 5. To install 3 bottom brackets around the pole with the selected hardware, first attach 2 bottom brackets together. On the pole, attach the third bottom bracket to the other 2 with the flanges on the bottom. Align the top edge of the bottom brackets to the mark made in the previous step. Step 6. Using plumb line, ensure that the top brackets and bottom brackets are aligned. Step 7. Ensure that the bottom brackets are level and torque each hex nut to 13 foot-pounds. Installing middle brackets for an 8-foot-only antenna. Step 8. Using the A distance found on page 11 of the installation guide, which is 55.25 inches for an 8-foot antenna, measure from the top edge of the top bracket and mark along the circumference of the pole. Step 9. To install 3 middle brackets around the pole with selected hardware, first attach 2 middle brackets together. On the pole, attach the third middle bracket to the other 2 in the orientation shown. Align the top edge of the middle brackets to the mark made in Step 8. Step 10. Using plumb line, ensure that the top, middle, and bottom brackets are aligned. Step 11. Ensure that the middle brackets are level and torque each hex nut to 13 foot-pounds. Mounting antennas to the brackets. Step 12. Ensure that the links are in the extended position. Line up the antenna brackets with the corresponding pole brackets. Step 13. Install 0.7-inch bolts and hex nuts on the top antenna to pole bracket attachment points. Install each hex nut until 1 to 2 threads of the bolt extend past the nut. Do not tighten enough to restrict the motion of the links. Step 14. Install 0.7-inch bolts and hex nuts on the bottom antenna to pole bracket attachment points. Install each hex nut until 1 to 2 threads of the bolt extend past the nut. Do not tighten enough to restrict the motion of the links. Additional steps for an 8-foot antenna. Step 15. Install 0.7-inch bolts and hex nuts on the middle antenna to pole bracket attachment points. Install each hex nut until 1 to 2 threads of the bolt extend past the nut. Do not tighten enough to restrict the motion of the links. Clasp each S carabiner to the corresponding loop on the sides of the antenna. Prior to installing the third antenna, clip carabiners off to the side for easier access. Finishing the installation. Step 16. At this point, the antenna is in the open position. Lift up on the antenna so that it moves into the closed position. Step 17. While holding the antenna in the closed position, tighten the top captive screws, which come pre-installed on the bracket, by hand. Repeat for the bottom captive screws, which come pre-installed on the antenna. Step 18. Torque all captive screws to 2.5 foot-pounds with the T24 Torx bit. Step 19. Repeat steps 12 to 18 with the remaining 2 antennas. Releasing the brackets before removing the antenna. Step 1. While holding the antenna in the upright position, unscrew the bottom captive screws, then the top's captive screws. Step 2. For an 8-foot antenna, simultaneously pull the wire cables on each side to release the pins that keep the antenna in the closed position. Step 3. Move the antenna down into the open position. While holding the antenna, remove hex nuts and the 0.7-inch bolts. Remove the antenna.